Alrighty, I'll let y'all get into the chat, but let's get started. Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G133. I am back here tonight with your Monday Night Raw review and results for May 18th, 2020. Hope everyone is doing okay. Um, I don't know. I have a lot of my mind going into tonight, and it's not really WWE focused. I'll be honest with you guys. Going into tonight's podcast, Monday Night Raw is one of the last things on my mind. This show was abysmal tonight. It was garbage. What else do you want me to say? It's like the same song and dance every single week. This show sucked. I'm so lazy. What up, Paul? Good to see you, bro. I'm so lazy when it comes to this show. I didn't even put out the normal layout that we have for the podcast. I'm not even using my normal mic today. Like, to be honest, I'm just not in the mood. I'm not pissed off at life or anything. It's just this show is awful. Let's be simple about it. Raw is garbage every single week, and there is no difference on tonight's show. No difference. We're on the road to Backlash, of course. WWE's next pay-per-view comes in just about 3 weeks from tonight. And you guys know, of course, we'll be covering it. But honestly, man, I'm not excited for this show. This show was bad. And I see me and Stimpy agree. And I believe everybody in the chat will agree. Slap a like on this video right now if you guys agree with me that Raw was trash tonight. Like, what do you want me to say? Honestly, I'm thinking, I'm honestly thinking that when it comes to doing these Raw and SmackDown reviews, I'm thinking personally I might put these videos in the podcast form. So I'm actually thinking about, after we do our live stream or I post a review, I download the podcast into an audio form and I upload it to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you guys want to listen, on the road, you guys can. I'm thinking about that, but I'm telling you, it's not going to be tonight. It's not going to be with this damn review because honestly, this show sucked. Not a lot happened. Not a lot happened that I cared about. I expect the ratings to be probably a 1.6. Because Raw's ratings have been absolute garbage as of late, and they deserve it. I just don't see any effort coming from WWE Creative. I just don't see anything. It's just, formulaic bullcrap every single week. But as always, we're going to go through the show like we always do here on the podcast. If you guys are watching via the live stream, thank you guys for joining me here tonight. If you guys are watching on playback or on demand, thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you guys are subscribed. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Paul asks, and by the way, I do have a question. Why do the Iconics, aka the Moronics, come back? You tell me, bro. I'm in the same boat as you. The Iconics, like I say almost every week, the Iconics. WWE took the Iconics out, and it was rumored that they were getting a repackage. I don't know what repackage they got. The WWE Tag Team titles have been absolutely meaningless on the main roster ever since the Iconics took those titles from Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania 35. You guys know how I feel about that. Like, there's not really much that I have to say in terms of that, but no, I agree with you, bro. They don't deserve jack. They really don't deserve anything. They suck. They're garbage. But anyway, let's get into Raw tonight. Honestly, I'm hoping not to go over an hour. I probably will because why not? But we'll try our best to keep tonight's Raw review under an hour because this show honestly does not deserve an hour review. Tonight's show featured Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin with that whole the brand invitational. I'm not excited to see Baron Corbin on Fridays. Why would I be excited to see Baron Corbin on Monday? You think Baron Corbin coming over to Raw for a the brand invitational match with Drew McIntyre, that's going to be what boosts the ratings? Yes, Drew McIntyre has been an amazing WWE champion. He's actually been booked like a champion. Imagine that. A WWE champion that's actually booked like a champion. Wow, one that wins every single week. One that looks strong. Imagine that. All right. Definitely picked up the remote as soon as I heard Corbin's music. I feel you, High Life. I feel you, man. I'll be honest with you guys. You know, I'm not. I don't bullshit you. I don't think I watched probably 60% of the show. I don't think I watched 60% of the show tonight. That's how bad this show was. It was garbage. It was garbage. Will the little fettuccine? Good to see you. Will the hacker show up on Raw? If the hacker shows up on Raw, bro, I hope he shows up to cancel the show from the USA Network. All right. If the hacker does that, he can be on Raw anytime, anytime. You know. Oh man. The only thing I like about this week's Raw is just the Edge and Randy Orton segment. Paul says, "Oh, it is nothing but similar bullcrap to the wildcard rule." You know, I'll say this: the brand Invitational is not as bad as the wildcard rule, but it's, the only reason why we're getting this is because WWE thinks this will be what boosts the ratings. It won't, and so far, as you guys can see, and you guys will see this again when we get the Monday Night Raw rating Tuesday morning. It's not gonna boost the ratings at all. It ain't gonna do jack crap. Like, let's be serious here. It won't do nothing. But anyway, let's talk about Edge and Randy Orton. All right, let's get this show on the road. Edge and Randy Orton. Last week, you guys remember, Edge and Randy Orton both came back to Raw. This was the first time we've seen them on Monday Night Raw since WrestleMania and their underwhelming 50-hour last man standing match. And, basically the whole point is Randy Orton challenged Edge to a straight-up wrestling match at Backlash, which is a couple weeks away. I know that this week's Raw was pre-taped last week, so Raw was not live tonight. They filmed 2 episodes of Raw last week. You could tell this right away. Randy Orton and Edge came out in the same clothes they had last week. Edge was legit wearing the same T-shirt and jeans that he wore in last week's segment, and Orton was wearing the same gear. So you could tell. The only thing different was Charlie Caruso wore a nice, beautiful blue dress. And you guys know Charlie Caruso. He's beautiful, amazing. Mwah! Love Charlie Caruso. But they made Charlie Caruso look like an absolute fool last week. And they had Charlie Caruso look like a fool again here tonight. They had Charlie Caruso come on Monday Night Raw and basically say, Ed versus Randy Orton has the potential to be the best wrestling match of all time. I want to know who in WWE's public relations department really thought this was smart to say. They're actually marketing this match as the greatest wrestling match of all time. Yes, we know that Edge and Randy Orton, they can put on a damn good match. But do you realize what kind of standard you're setting by saying greatest match of all time? Does anybody truly understand that? I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Greatest match of all time. So we're talking about Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25. We're talking about Sasha Banks versus Bayley, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2015. We're talking about John Cena versus Shawn Michaels on that edition of Raw in 2007. We're talking, and I'm just trying to think. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, NXT TakeOver New York. Matches of that level. Really? WWE is trying to market this as the greatest match of all time when it's going to be nowhere close. It won't be the top 50. It won't be in the top 100 WWE matches of all time. Yet you want to try to market it as the greatest match of all time. Really? Is that really smart, WWE? I really don't understand the logic that goes into the people that booked this show. I really don't. I understand, yes, the people did not like the last man standing match. Mainly because the match was pretty boring and it was 40 minutes long. It wasn't terrible, but it was very long and very boring. So we know Edge and Randy Orton, they listen to the media. So they're trying to make up for that. They're trying to make up for that with this match. I think Edge and Randy Orton will be a decent match at Backlash. It's not going to be anywhere close to the best match of the year. It won't be anywhere close to the best match of the decade. It will be nowhere close to the best match of all time. Like I don't understand what goes into these people's heads. I really don't. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a bad match. It's Edge and Randy Orton. It's two of the greatest of all time. I expect it'll be a decent match, maybe a great match, but it won't be nowhere close to the best match of all time. Also, another thing that didn't make sense when I saw this: why didn't you just have Edge answer this last week? Why did you make us wait a whole week for Edge to answer Randy Orton's challenge? Yes, the promo work between Edge and Randy Orton is always good. On the road to WrestleMania, the promo work made this story the best story going into WrestleMania 36. And the promo work tonight was great. Orton came out and he didn't want to waste any time. He wanted Edge's answer. Edge came out talking about, how he's done playing games. And he talked about how much he loves this business, how he beat Orton for the IC title back in 2004, how, having true grit is going out and performing at the best level each and every single week so that when you were retired, you'd be known as one of the best performers of all time. The promo work between Edge and Randy Orton was great. Orton had enough of this. Orton stopped and told Edge to shut up and be like, I didn't come out here for all this. I didn't, come out to see you go on a raw speech. Is it yes or no? And he yelled, is it yes or no, Edge? And Edge said, yes, yes, yes. Kind of like Daniel Bryan. And there you have it. Edge versus Randy Orton has been booked for Backlash. They had the graphic already pre-made, and we will be getting it at Backlash. The promo work between these two makes the match feel like it's must-see. It makes the match feel like it's going to be one of the best matches we'll ever see. But if you're not a casual fan, if you're not a freaking idiot, if you know how this business works, and if you know, just based on watching the Last Man Standing match at WrestleMania, it's not going to be anywhere close to that. Like I said, I expect a really good match between Edge and Orton. Will it be the match of the night? We'll see. Will it be match of the year? Will it be match of the decade? Will it be match of the century? Will it be one of the greatest matches of all time? Absolutely not. Like I said, this match won't be top 50, won't be top 100, won't be, top 10. It will never be looked at as the best match of all time. It won't be on the levels of Sasha Banks versus Bayley from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Won't be on the levels of a Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker from WrestleMania 25, or an Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano from NXT TakeOver New York. It won't be on that level. I just hate how WWE tries to act and try to insert our intelligence by marketing this match as the best match ever. It's not. All right, it's not. Moving on. Like I said, we're probably gonna speed through this show tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. We're gonna speed through this show. If you guys remember last week, probably the best part of last week's show, other than the whole Becky Lynch and Asuka thing, and just speaking very quickly on Asuka. I forgive you guys just saw my nail. Anyway, I need to cut my nails. Anyway, last week, we had the whole Becky Lynch retirement thing. And, what up, Junior? Good to see you, bro. Yeah, we got a really active chat tonight. I like that. So for you guys that are listening on demand, try to be here for the live streams, man. We got a really active chat tonight. I really like that. But anyway, we had, remember Seth Rollins, the big thing, Seth Rollins turning into this possessed maniac messiah when he bashed Rey Mysterio's eye into the steel steps. No, I don't play Fortnite. That's not really my forte. I play anime and sports games, a little bit of Call of Duty. That's the main thing. Anyway, Junior, if you want to text me, text me that stuff after the review. Anyway, if you guys remember, the big thing was Seth Rollins' actions from last week. And Seth Rollins, we all wanted to see some explanation, get an explanation for why he did what he did. We saw Seth, he acted like he was all possessed and he had no clue what was going on when he attacked Humberto, which I kind of liked. I want them to turn this into some kind of like Ministry of Darkness type of thing. And, it seems like we could be going down this path with Seth. So Seth comes out, he's wearing the suit. Seth looks really good in the suit, bro. I know Becky at home, is probably getting, some fuzzy feelings once he sees Seth in the suit. Anyway, that's enough joking for now. Seth comes out and he has Brian Murphy or Buddy Murphy. I don't know why I'm getting my names wrong today. He had Buddy Murphy with him, and I kind of like when Murphy has his all Messiah pose on, and he was wearing a really cool like Seth Rollins Messiah jacket. You know, and you know Buddy Murphy, he's growing a nice little beard too. Anyway, basically, he called his attack on Rey Mysterio cathartic and necessary. You know, he talked about how some people thought he needed to apologize and he was a madman. Some people thought, you know, it was in very bad taste. You know, Seth called it a necessary attack. He spoke on the screen to Rey Mysterio directly. I agree with you, Sleeping Angels. This show was terrible today. Terrible. You know, and basically said that he would soon realize the blessing that had been bestowed upon him. He says to see the light, sometimes you have to fall into the darkness. And, you know, I liked where this probably was going, but I felt like this was kind of a repeat of things we had already heard. I felt like some of the things we heard from Seth Rollins were things that we heard when he was feuding with Kevin Owens. You know what I mean? But I still do like kind of where they're going with the character. Because I think what they should do is they should start building a feud between Seth Rollins and Edge for SummerSlam. So I kind of like where they're going with this whole maniac Seth Rollins. And basically, Humberto Carrillo interrupted Seth and basically challenged the Messiah to a fight. He talked about like how millions of people around the world adore Rey, and Rey was his idol. Blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, Rey's your idol. Good for you, Humberto. No one gives a crap about you. No one. All right. Like, let's be serious. No one cares about Humberto Carrillo. Absolutely nobody. And if you do care about Humberto, I feel sorry for you. You need to get some new favorite wrestlers. Just being honest. Just being honest. Hold on, let me plug my thing in real quick before it dies. Sorry about that. Anyway, but basically it was revealed to us that Buddy Murphy was supposed to have a match later on in the show with Aleister Black, and before that he would get a warm-up match with Humberto. So Buddy Murphy pulling double duty on tonight's show. But basically Humberto tried to challenge Seth, but Seth did not accept the challenge. He said instead Murphy would take the fight. You know, I didn't watch the match. Murphy won using Murphy's law. And then after the match, Murphy was directed by Seth to do more damage. It's like Seth's really like a dictator. He's like, ho, you do this, you do that, you this. All right. Anyway, after the match, we see Aleister Black come out to save Humberto from the two heels. You know, so yeah, just to set the stage for Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy, a match we've seen, you know, so many times throughout the last half a year. They had some of the greatest matches, or some of the best matches of the year during their rivalry last year. Next up, we have the Queen, Mrs. Three Shows. Mrs. I don't give a crap. Yes, I'm talking about Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair graces us with her presence on Monday Night Raw. And you guys can hear the excitement in my voice. If WWE really thinks Charlotte Flair is the answer to the ratings, oh my gosh. Junior asses, have you played Trigger Fist? Here's the thing about Trigger Fist. I'll say this. Trigger Fist was the first video I ever made on YouTube. You won't find the video because about most of my videos from back then are on private. I started YouTube about 2014, I believe, when I was in like a freshman in high school. Trigger Fist was my first video. You'll get a really high pitch Fitzmonk if you were to watch those videos, but I will never put those videos on public because they are very bad. Anyway, that's just a quick side note. But let's talk about Charlotte Flair, man. I hate Charlotte Flair. You know, she did one positive on SmackDown last week, which was kind of push the envelope between Sasha Banks and Bayley. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. Charlotte was not needed on SmackDown. You did not need Charlotte to build tension between Sasha Banks and Bayley. You didn't. You know, and now we're gonna have to deal with Charlotte on all 3 shows this week. Excuse me. She was on Raw tonight. She's on NXT Wednesday because she is the NXT Women's Champion, and she's on SmackDown. SmackDown. Junior, don't act stupid, alright? I'm like 10 years your senior. Shut up. Anyway, what was I gonna say? We had Charlotte on Raw tonight. We'll see her again on Wednesday for NXT, and no, the Junior. Yeah, I saw you delete your message. You hope it's not the virus. No, it was just a normal sneeze. I'll never get the virus. All right. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Charlotte's on all 3 shows, and nobody wants her on all 3 shows. We're gonna have to see her. We saw her on Raw tonight. We're gonna have to see her on Wednesday on NXT and Friday because she'll be going up against Bayley, champion versus champion. Oh my gosh. So Charlotte comes out. She's in her ring gear, so you know she's going to have a match. And she always starts off, they do the same rinse and repeat. This is what I'm talking about with the formulated garbage. You guys already know I can't stand Charlotte on the mic. She's robotic. I am the queen. I am Mrs. 3 shows. Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. I am a 12-time champion. Because you guys know, WWE, just because of Charlotte, since we have to push Charlotte's resume above everybody else, right? They decided, and I think I talked about this on the SmackDown review, WWE's now decided that NXT title reigns count. NXT title reigns count. Fitz, oh no, wait. Lil Fettuccine says, who will win the IC tournament? It will probably be AJ Styles. Let's be serious here. Just because, why not? It will probably be AJ Styles. Maybe Daniel Bryan, but I think it's going to be AJ Styles because WWE loves to do title reigns that don't make any sense, even though you guys know I love AJ Styles. Thank you, Lauren. I think I'm fine. But anyway, Charlotte sucks. All right, let's just get out of the way. Charlotte sucks. WWE decided that because they want to make Charlotte's resume bigger than it already is, they're going to start counting NXT title reigns and tag team title reigns towards a competitor's resume. Like how they called Charlotte is grade F. No, Charlotte, I will never call Charlotte the GOAT. She is nowhere near the GOAT. Please, she's the most overpushed female star in the history of WWE. She has 10 title reigns that none of them are memorable. I rest my case. If you can tell me one memorable Charlotte title reign, maybe I'll give your argument the light of day. Please don't waste my time with that nonsense. Please. Anyway, because of Charlotte Flair, they decided to count NXT and women's title reigns towards a WWE's resume, like, you know, Sasha Banks. We've always referred to Sasha Banks on the main roster as a 4-time women's champion. Well, you guys remember she was, you know, an NXT Women's Champion, one of the greatest NXT Women's Champions of all time, in my opinion. Right up there with Shayna Baszler and Asuka. I would not put Charlotte anywhere close. And she's a women's tag team champion. So now on WWE TV, they're referring to her as a 6-time champion. I don't mind, you know, making Sasha Banks, you know, have a better resume than, you know, you know, I have no problem with WWE making Sasha Banks look better, saying she's a 6-time women's champion by including the NXT and women's tag team title reigns. But we all know this is just part of WWE's agenda to push Charlotte Flair. They never said this before, right? They never mentioned this before Charlotte won the NXT Women's Champion again. So what? The second that Charlotte becomes NXT Women's Champion, right, we got to change everything. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Anyway, Charlotte comes out and she taunts Bayley about their match on Friday. And then basically she believes she has to teach Charlotte or Bayley respect. She has to teach Bayley there's levels to even being a champion. Yeah, sure, Charlotte. Like, we should be learning from you about how to be a champion. Because every time you win a championship, you lose it just as fast as you won it. Anyway, she calls out Ruby Riott, all right? And the thing about it is, I've been proclaiming for weeks that now that Becky Lynch is going to be gone, you need to start building up more female superstars. No, you know what WWE does? They decide to have Charlotte Flair beat Ruby Riott in less than 5 minutes. Yeah, great job. So almost every week you have Charlotte burying most of the Raw Women's division. She's buried Liv Morgan. She's buried, now she's buried Ruby Riott. And I understand, there's almost no universe where a Charlotte Flair would lose to a Ruby Riott or a Liv Morgan. But hey, can we get an actual match at least? Like, can we get maybe a 10, 15, 20-minute match? Make Ruby Riott look strong? No, we got to bury Ruby Riott, who's one of the most underrated performers in WWE's women's division. We have to bury her in less than 5 minutes. Yeah. And I think Ruby Riott right now is sitting at home watching Raw with a cold beverage, thinking or wishing that she was released from WWE, just like Sarah Logan was about a month ago. All right, please. Junior, you know this already. You know that Sasha beat all three of Sasha's title reigns three of her 4 Raw Women's title reigns were won against Charlotte on Raw. You already know that, bro. Don't act dumb. So yeah, Charlotte defeats Riott. Don't care. Won with the figure 4, of course. And yeah, let's continue burying our women's division. When now with Becky gone, you should be making everyone look more important. But hey, no. So we gotta make Charlotte look stronger than everybody else. Next up, we had Asuka's title celebration. All right, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because really there's not much to talk about because it mainly involves freaking Nia Jax, and you guys can hear, in my voice, I don't give a damn about Nia Jax. You guys know I can't stand her. Any title feud, and I don't even care if it's Sasha Banks, any title feud with Nia Jax is awful because Nia Jax is that bad in the ring. She's garbage. She's terrible. End of discussion. They turned Asuka and Kairi Sane babyface last week because with Becky Lynch gone, you're not going to turn Shayna Baszler or Nia Jax into a babyface. They're natural heels. It would make the most sense. Asuka is loved by the WWE Universe. So, Asuka being turned babyface made the most sense in the eyes of WWE. I don't blame them at all. Anyway, I see you, Paul. Yeah, let the Charlotte fans in the chat know the truth. Anyway. We have Asuka has a huge title celebration. Kairi Sane talks about all of Asuka's accomplishments, and I kind of like this. Kairi Sane is like, NXT Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, and now Raw Women's Champion. I think they have a Grand Slam Asuka t-shirt on WWE.com. I'm happy for Asuka, even though, and the thing about it is, if you look at it, you can make a conversation or an argument that Asuka has been the most accomplished superstar in WWE's female division outside of Charlotte. Even though most of us believe that Asuka has not been booked well on the main roster. She's won the Women's Royal Rumble. She's won the Women's Money in the Bank. She's a Grand Slam champion, The only title she hasn't won is the NXT UK title. So, she's done it all. Even though I personally believe she's never been booked correctly. But still, I'm happy for Asuka. I'm happy that, she is now being booked as the babyface leader of the Raw Women's division because she should have always been in that role. It's WWE's fault for fucking her up because they had her lose to Charlotte at WrestleMania 34 and they had her lose to Charlotte again 2 weeks before WrestleMania 35 when she was the SmackDown Women's Champion. You guys can see my thoughts on that. All right. But still, I was happy, Asuka came out and celebrated with Kairi Sane, talked about how she was happy for Becky Lynch, but she was also happy to be Raw Women's Champion. Kairi started playing on her flute or recorder, something like that, Then Nia fucking Jax comes out, and you guys can hear my excitement. I'm so happy that Nia Jax came out to ruin this segment. So happy. Nia Jax comes out and basically she complained that basically Asuka, you're a paper champion. The only reason why you won is because Becky Lynch is on maternal leave. Yeah, sure, but remember, Nia Jax, let's not sound stupid here. Nia Jax, you were in that same Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You were also one of the three last women on the roof of WWE headquarters, okay? So if Nia, if you climbed the ladder and if you got the briefcase, you would be standing there as Raw Women's Champion. Because nobody knew other than Becky and WWE that Becky was pregnant and she was vacating the title and that the title was actually in the briefcase. Nobody knew that. It was revealed this last week that Asuka didn't know that the title was in the briefcase. She had no idea, which makes that moment even sweeter for me. All right, because you guys know I love Asuka. So, Nia Jax, you sound like a hypocrite because I'm willing to bet if you had won Money in the Bank and if you stood there as the Raw Women's Champion, you wouldn't be complaining at all. Yeah, so I don't know. Basically, she said we're going to have an even bigger and better party because she will be becoming Raw Women's Champion. I'm not surprised because WWE it's already been stated that WWE's plans for Asuka, they're going to have her feud with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax going forward for, into the summer. And it was originally planned that Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch was supposed to take place at Money in the Bank, but of course the plans changed with the reveal of Becky Lynch's pregnancy. I don't care. I love Asuka. I expect her to defeat Nia Jax at Backlash. That's probably where this match will take place. But I don't care. Because who gives a crap about Nia Jax? Who cares? She sucks. I'm not excited about this match at all as long as Asuka stays champion. I personally want us to get at SummerSlam, Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair. We did have a Bianca Belair video package tonight. WWE needs to do more video package for up-and-coming stars. We've barely seen Bianca Belair on Raw since she was moved up after WrestleMania. But definitely, I would love to see Bianca Belair versus Asuka take place at SummerSlam. But I'm not excited for a Nia Jax feud. She's awful. I am concerned for Kairi Sane because later in the night, Kairi Sane was playing her recorder backstage because after Nia talked all this crap, Asuka and Kairi Sane did a double team on Nia and sent her flying backstage. Nia Jax got payback by attacking Kairi Sane behind her back when she was playing her recorder. She got thrown into some crates really hard. It looked like Kairi got hit in the head pretty badly. Like I always say, Nia Jax is garbage. I don't know why WWE continues to push Nia Jax when she doesn't even know how to do a segment properly. She's injuring somebody almost every single week, and yet she goes on social media being all proud about it. Like, what's there to be proud of when you're injuring your fellow superstars and competitors? What's there to be proud of? You're trash. You suck. Anyway, but Asuka would check on Kairi, and then later in the show, she would attack Nia again, hitting her with a kick. So nothing special happened here. It's clear that we're gonna get Nia versus Asuka, most likely at Backlash. I don't care. I won't be watching the match because Nia sucks. I love Asuka, but any match with Nia Jax is not good. Yes, Lil Fettuccine talking about Shad Gaspard. It's been a huge story in the wrestling community. Everyone's talking about it. Him being lost at sea. They have authorities looking for his body. You guys remember Shad Gaspard? He was known. For being part of Crime Time, the famous WWE tag team from back in the 2000s with JTG. He was visiting Venice Beach, and then he got lost at sea during a beach swim, and lifeguards have been been searching for him because he has been gone missing. Everybody's been talking about it. I hope he is okay. I hope he's found safe. I pray that he's not found, under the sea, dead. Or I pray that doesn't happen. We've already lost enough people during this virus. We don't want to lose somebody at sea, So hopefully he is found safe and sound, man. But it's not looking good right now. It's definitely not looking good, especially now that it's nighttime and we haven't heard any reports of him being found. I just hope he is safe. So keep your prayers up for Sean Gaspard. Hopefully, God comes through and he is okay. Next up, Bobby Lashley versus R-Truth. This was a rematch of the match we saw in Money in the Bank. Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap? The big thing about this is MVP. Basically, MVP is trying to be like a mentor to Bobby Lashley. Like I said, back when they were in TNA and Lashley was the TNA champion, MVP was his manager, and they had a pretty good relationship. Lashley wouldn't talk, MVP would do most of the talking. So it seems like they're trying to do that same thing here on Raw. MVP's trying to help Lashley find his true self. Get back to being a dominant force. MVP keeps talking about how Lashley hasn't had a WWE Championship match since 2007. And it was basically confirmed tonight that in Drew McIntyre's match with Baron Corbin, that Lashley would be would be McIntyre's next opponent. I'm not against a Bobby Lashley Drew McIntyre match. But the thing about it is, I don't care about the feud. I think a match between Lashley and McIntyre would be pretty damn good, but I don't give a damn about a feud. How are you really gonna sell me on Lashley versus freaking Drew McIntyre? Are you telling me that's gonna be the main event of Backlash? No. Yes, definitely Lashley would benefit from MVP in his corner, but let's be serious here. How many times have we seen Bobby Lashley with mentors since he's been back in WWE? He had Leo Rush, a couple years back. Remember when Leo Rush was Lashley's mentor, right? We've seen that. Now we see Lana, which was probably the worst of the three, and now we're seeing MVP. I have no problem with MVP being a mentor or a manager for Lashley, but I just don't think it's gonna be anything special. I think a feud between McIntyre and Lashley, it's going to be hard to sell. We'll see if WWE can sell us and make us give a damn about it in the next 2 weeks. But no. And the thing about it is, I don't see Lashley winning the WWE Championship anyway. I think McIntyre will win. I don't see McIntyre losing that title anytime soon, and he shouldn't. McIntyre has been a great WWE champion. He's done a great job making the best of both worlds throughout this entire pandemic situation. It sucks to see that McIntyre's title reign has to take place with no live crowd. But at the end of the day, I have no problem, with McIntyre being the WWE champion. He's been great. I love Drew McIntyre, man. I've become a big fan of him in the last couple months. But either way, man, I'm sorry. You're just not going to be able to sell me on on a McIntyre and Lashley feud. You're just not. All right? I just don't find any interest in that. Next up, we had the Iconics, or as Paul says, the Moronics. I can't stand the Iconics at all. Women's Tag Team Championship match, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics. I did not watch this match at all. The Iconics are absolute garbage. They suck. They sucked. Simple as that. I feel bad for anybody that had to sit through and watch this match. This match was like 3-4 minutes long, and basically the match ended is Alexa Bliss, she hit a Twisted Bliss on Billie Kay. Peyton Royce came up to make the disqualification, or to make up the pin, but then she threw Alexa Bliss into the LED board twice, and then the ref called for a disqualification. We're starting to see this a lot more often. I know there was a lot of people complaining about what happened with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio last week in the tag team match. Vince McMahon wants this to become a thing on WWE TV. He wants, refs to be serious about disqualifying superstars when situations like this occur. So it's something we're going to have to get used to on WWE TV. But it caused a disqualification. Bliss and Cross retained the women's tag team titles. Who give a damn? After the match backstage, Kay and Royce had a little bit of an argument. Royce tried to apologize for what she did, but out of frustration, Billie Kay slapped her best friend, but the two quickly embraced, and most likely they're probably going to continue this rivalry. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? You can't honestly tell me that you give a shit about Billie Kay and Peyton Royce challenging for the women's tag team titles. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, and like I say once again, this show sucks, and the women's tag team titles have not mattered since they took those titles off of Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania 35. Anyway, we had a submission match between Shayna Baszler and Natalya. This was just a rematch of something we saw last week. I kind of like this little mini rivalry between we're getting with Baszler and Natalya, but still, like I said last week, Shayna Baszler, in my opinion, is buried. It was reported that Shayna Baszler was supposed to win the Money to Break briefcase to continue her feud with Becky, but because of Becky's pregnancy, they had to change everything. So I don't know. Should I still consider Shayna Baszler buried? Because it would have been very weird for Becky Lynch to vacate the Raw title to Shayna Baszler, who is a full-fledged heel. It would have felt like a good moment if that had happened. You know, it made more sense. It was easy to turn Asuka back into a babyface. You know, you're not going to turn Shayna. Shayna will never be a babyface on the main roster. She's a natural heel. But this was a submission match. You know, there was a lot of good submissions, but Baszler was able to get Natalya in the Kofita clutch, and Natalya tried to hold on, but she ultimately had to tap out. After the match, Natalya freaked out and destroyed the set in frustration. The Kevin Owens show was making its return, with Kevin Owens making his return to Raw tonight, but his set was destroyed by Natalya. I don't know what this means. You know, I wouldn't mind Natalya turning heel. I said the same thing about Naomi when she lost to Dana Brooke last week on SmackDown. So I would not mind seeing Natalya turn heel. You know, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. You know, I don't really give a damn about Natalya. You guys know I find Natalya. You know, I just don't really care about Natalya. She has no charisma to me. If you want to turn her heel, fine. We'll just have to wait and see. You know, maybe they continue this rivalry between Natalya and Shayna Baszler. You know, maybe they move Shayna Baszler to maybe a program with Bianca Belair. Because we know eventually we're going to get Baszler versus Asuka, no matter if that's at SummerSlam or Extreme Rules or whenever. Because I expect Asuka to walk out of her program with Nia Jax, still Raw Women's Champion. So not a bad match, but at the end of the day, who really cares? Next up, we have our boy Kevin Owens. You guys know I love Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens made his return to Raw tonight, basically in the form of the Kevin Owens show. We haven't seen Kevin Owens, of course, since WrestleMania 35 and his victory over Seth Rollins. And basically talked about the reason why he's been gone is because he got banged up at WrestleMania. He also talked about how he was satisfied with getting the WrestleMania moment by beating Seth at Mania. Even though I'll say once again, WWE is insulting our intelligence here because Kevin Owens has 2 WrestleMania moments now. Remember, he beat Chris Jericho for the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania 33. Stop, WWE, stop insulting our intelligence and trying to make us forget that KO beat Chris Jericho. Stop trying to write out Chris Jericho out of WWE history just because the guy left for AEW. You're being petty and you look like idiots. Anyway, Kevin Owens did come back tonight. He thanked Natalya for destroying his set. He said it saved him time and effort. And you know, it was good. I love Kevin Owens' personality. The guy he's nonchalant and he has a natural charisma about him. He's just a natural funny guy. You know, I feel like Kevin Owens would be very cool to sit down and have a couple of cold ones with. But basically his guests were Zelina Vega, Andrade, Garza, and Austin Theory. And this, you know, they've been going through this storyline that Theory, Garza, and Andrade, they've been frustrated with one another the last couple weeks. They've been bickering backstage. And you know what I find funny is it's legit only been a month. WWE formed this group right after WrestleMania, and already the group is dead. The group is dead. You know, just 1 month later, I don't know if I've ever seen a group with so much potential, you know, be buried this fast on WWE TV. I don't. It might be a record. It honestly might be a record. It's sad. It truly is sad how fast this group was buried on WWE TV. But you know, the group comes out. Zelina, Zelina Vega talks about each member of the group. Then Zelina said something about her being the best in this business. I love Zelina Vega. She is beautiful and she is great on the mic. But honey, what are you the best at? Best on the mic? You're good. You're great on the mic, but the best in the mic in the WWE? Not even the best in the women's division. I'm sorry. I love Zelina Vega. I truly do. But Zelina, don't sound stupid. I don't know why WWE is making Zelina and Charlie Caruso, two of my favorite honeys on main roster TV, look stupid. Look stupid. Anyway. Junior, yo, I hate Nia Jax as a person and as a wrestler. She's known for injuring other wrestlers and get mad when someone injures her. I agree with you. I would love to see Zelina Vega in the ring a little bit more. She is actually not bad. She has a nice mini cruiserweight style to her. Just because she's very tiny, she can actually wrestle a little bit. But basically, this led to Apollo Crews coming out. Apollo Crews made his return. Remember, Apollo Crews, he was injured in that storyline angle with Andrade a couple weeks ago, and he had to vacate his Money in the Bank opportunity over the AJ Styles. And basically, he didn't waste any time. He ran towards the ring, attacked Andrade, reuniting their feud. And basically, Kevin Owens, he didn't attack Theory and Garza, but he more kept them out of the way, so it would be a fair fight between Apollo and Andrade. This led to, of course, a tag team match, because what else did WWE know? But basically, Theory got on the apron during the match, and this led to Apollo throwing Garza into him. This also set up Crews to win with a spin-out power bomb. So basically, after the match, Andrade and Garza beat down Theory, and they threw him to the timekeeper's area. So Leo comes over and basically said, "You are pathetic, you are useless, and I can't believe I wasted my time thinking you were the real deal." So, you know, a month after, you know, their inception, we thought that, you know, Theory, Garza, and Andrade, with Zelina being their leader, you know, we thought they would dominate Monday Night Raw. Well, we're about only a month later. They have been absolutely buried on WWE TV, and Austin Theory is out of Zelina Vega's stable. Austin Theory should have never been on the main roster to begin with. Should have never been on the main roster to begin with. He should have never been brought up from NXT. He's 22 years old. He had future NXT champion written all over him, if you ask me. You know, I know Paul Heyman saw a lot in him and wanted him to be brought up. But what, you brought him up just to bury him on WWE TV? Like, that was the big deal, right? You brought Austin Theory up to bury him on WWE TV. That's what you wanted to do. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense, right? Makes sense, WWE. All right, but anyways, the match sucked. You know, well, the match didn't suck. I just didn't care. I just didn't care. You know, after the match, Theory stayed out there for a pretty good while. Like, he did a great job selling that he was out there. Apollo Crews, it was confirmed that next week we will be getting a rematch for the United States Championship between between Apollo Crews and Andrade, which should be good. Will we see Apollo get the win? I don't know. I've been saying since WrestleMania I would love to see Kevin Owens and Andrade get into a feud. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think Kevin Owens should definitely be back in the championship feud. We haven't seen KO in a championship feud in a grip. It's been like over a year since he's been in a legit championship feud. So I would love to see a prize fighter babyface Owens back. And I'm glad to see KO's back and healthy. We'll see what happens between Apollo and Selena. There's rumors saying that there's a chance that they might turn Apollo heel. You know, I think that would be interesting. I don't know if I want to see it, but I definitely think it's interesting. Apollo strikes me as a guy that would always be a babyface mid carder, but kind of like Zack Ryder. But I don't know. We'll see what happens next week with Apollo. But back to Theory. Theory, like I said, Theory should have never been on the main roster to begin with. What happens is he stays out there for the entire time, selling his injuries from being thrown into the timekeepers area, being thrown out of Selena's group. Then we get Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. Murphy's wrestling in his second match of the night. And basically what we see is Seth Rollins the whole time he's looking at Austin Theory. He's looking at Theory. He's trying to, just stare the kid down. Then he helps Theory get up. And as Aleister Black, remember Buddy Murphy has already had one match tonight against Humberto. He's clearly weakened. He's not at 100%. Aleister basically takes him out easily as he sets up for the Black Mass. Seth Rollins sends Theory in after Black. Murphy and Theory set up a double team on Aleister Black, more like a triple team with Seth. And then it is revealed that Theory has now joined the Messiah's group, and I don't know how to feel about this because it doesn't really make sense. Theory gets kicked out of one group early in the show, and then he just turns around and automatically joins Seth's group. I understand that, Seth's group is down a couple men because AOP is not there, but really? It doesn't make. I don't know. I'll see what happens, but it doesn't make sense to me. It does, why? Theory fit perfectly with Andrade and Angel, and they should have been booked to dominate Monday Night Raw, but they didn't even last a month. And then Theory goes from one group to another. It kind of makes Theory look stupid. It makes him look like a hypebeast follower, but I don't know. He doesn't really, in my eyes, he doesn't really fit with the Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy thing. Buddy Murphy, he works perfectly with Seth's gimmick. Austin Theory, I don't know. Like I said, Theory looked perfect in with Selena's stable. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But in my honest opinion, Theory should have never been on Raw in the first place. Never should have been booked like this. He should have just stayed in NXT and became a big star. And this would have probably been worse if we had a live crowd, because still I feel like the crowd has not been introduced to what Theory is and what he can actually do in the ring, because he's been buried being a part of Selena's stable the last couple months on Raw. Other than that, guys, we had the Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin match, the main event of the show. I'll say this, I didn't watch the match. I wasn't planning on watching the match. As much as I love Drew McIntyre, I didn't watch the match. I saw the ending. I heard it was a decent match. I'm not going to go back and watch it because it's fucking Baron Corbin, as much as I love Drew McIntyre. But basically what happens here is basically MVP and Bobby Lashley are watching from the ramp area. McIntyre's talking crap. I love it. They're continuing this whole thing when McIntyre kicks out at 1 when he gets near the end of the match, he gets a sense of adrenaline, and then he hit Corbin with a Claymore click. Gets a 1, 2, 3. I love the way Drew McIntyre is continuing to be booked as WWE Champion. And then he gets the victory, stares down Bobby Lashley, and that's the way Raw ends. Like I said, this show sucked tonight. I love McIntyre. I love that he's actually being booked the way a champion should be. Strong. But still, I'm not excited for Lashley versus McIntyre. I don't know how you're going to make me care about this feud. I think the match will be decent, but I just don't care. And, that's symbolic because I don't care about Raw. All right? This show was garbage tonight. There was really nothing, maybe outside of Seth Rollins' promo, there was really nothing on this show that I found enjoyable. All right? Maybe Asuka. Maybe Asuka and Seth's promo. That may have been the only things that I found decent about this show tonight. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm kind of happy we were able to keep the review under an hour. I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know if you guys want me to turn the podcasts into audio form and start uploading them on like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and things of that. But I want to thank God for joining me. I loved how we had an active stream tonight. Hopefully we get that every single week. If you guys haven't yet, no matter if you guys are still in the live chat or watching this on demand, leave a like on this video. I should be back. Hopefully I'll be back with the SmackDown review at the end of the week. But hopefully you guys enjoy. If you guys did, like, comment, subscribe, enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Also follow me on social media. That is the quickest way to just talk to me about wrestling and all other things. Thank God for joining me here on the Legit Truth Podcast. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night, guys.